If you or a loved one are struggling with type 2 diabetes, you should visit the link in the description below. This clinically proven, drug-free program lowers blood sugar to a normal level and can completely reverse type 2 diabetes within just a few weeks. Here's today's video.
The question, why do some doctors believe diabetes type 2 cannot be reversed? Answer by David Lascelles. Because the disorder affects the body in a way that means it cannot, yet, be reversed. The damage in type 2 diabetes is to the receptors that accept insulin and open the channels that allow glucose into the body cells. Without those receptors being triggered, those channels remain closed. What has happened is that the 3D shape of the proteins that make those receptors has changed. This happens because of two things: a genetic problem, which means some of the receptors are simply made the wrong shape in long-term wear and tear, which means some receptors get changed, the latter being the reason why it gets more common with age. This means that insulin no longer works on those receptors. It's like you had a key to a lock but someone changes the lock on you. This level of change is irreversible with current understanding of the human body. Now there have been recent experiments on mice which have held out some hope that there may be a way to reverse it in humans. However, mice models of diabetes are not necessarily very close to human ones. Before we can get to the point where it can be applied to humans, we need to go through several more animal models and look at human trials. That is a good long way away, and many times the potential cure does not work on the models closer to humans. Answer by John Shore. Because that is what they have been trained to believe. They are taught a particular treatment regime that actually perpetuates type 2 diabetes, so they see what they have been taught they will see happen. When I told my endocrinologist that I was going to reverse this terrible illness, she smiled knowingly and gave me the usual diet program and prescriptions. I told her that I would change my diet to the LCHF diet and reverse the diabetes without meds and would not be following the diet she prescribed. She was surprised but told me to return in 3 months for a checkup and review of my blood tests. By the time I returned to her, my blood glucose levels were normal every day. My A1C was pre-diabetic. By the time I returned 3 months later, my A1C was completely normal for a non-diabetic person. My blood glucose levels were normal every day. Now, 9 months later, my blood glucose levels are still normal every day. I eat whatever I feel like eating. I eat a moderate carb, low-fat diet and have lost 8 kilos so far. I changed my lifestyle and reversed this disease. Now I am aiming to cure it. It helps to reduce stress, meditate every day, do mindful eating and to get some kind of exercise every day. Basic healthy stuff we should all be doing. Every body is unique in certain ways. It is important to get your blood checked every 3 months and to check your own blood glucose levels every day with a personal meter. I did it at least 7 times a day when I first started on this adventure. Now I just check every morning. I suppose more and more doctors will come around to recognize this new treatment strategy one day. But at the moment the pharmaceutical, diabetes associations and medical industries have too much to lose financially if doctors stop prescribing their meds, diets and treatment regimes. Unfortunately, there are a great many cynical people who believe that making money is more important than human lives. Answer by Chris Luminize. Type 2 diabetes is thought to have 2 main stages. In the first stage you develop insulin resistance. This is mostly caused by a combination of genetics, diet, body, weight, and physical fitness. Insulin resistance means that your body still produces insulin normally, but that insulin does not have its typical blood sugar lowering effect on the body. This first stage typically progresses through a reversible pre-diabetic phase where you have somewhat elevated blood sugars but are not entirely diabetic yet. During this phase your body actually produces larger and larger amounts of insulin to try to compensate for the decreased effect that insulin has. During this insulin resistance phase, when you are pre-diabetic or at the beginning of type 2 diabetes, it is potentially reversible. Through exercise, diet, weight loss, and medication, insulin resistance can gradually reverse, and blood sugars can return to normal. The second main phase of diabetes is pancreas burnout. During the insulin resistance phase, your pancreas produces more and more insulin to try to overcome your insulin resistance and maintain normal blood sugar. It cannot maintain this forever though, and there is a point in which the pancreas burns out. This means it produces less insulin, and eventually may produce none at all. This part of diabetes is usually not considered reversible. Even if you manage to reverse the insulin resistance, your pancreas cannot go back to producing normal levels of insulin. At this point you will typically need medication, insulin or other agents, in order to maintain a normal blood sugar. Keep in mind that this description is a generality, and that every patient can be different. There is a lot of nuance and detail in understanding diabetes, and my answer captures only a little bit of it.